Repetition isn't just, mindless mindset fluff. It's literally how your brain will rewire to accept what you're focusing on, to accept your manifestation. And then your external reality is literally going to bend to match that. Here is how all of this works together to bring in your manifestation. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're diving deeper into the quantum realm, talking about how repetition impacts your mind, how it connects to bringing in the reality you want, how your manifestation comes in and ties into the actual repetition that you're doing. So the reason why you should persist with that. So if you need a pick-me-up, support on this area, this is the video for you. Welcome to any new viewers. I'd love if you choose to subscribe, continue supporting my content, because I have loads more videos tying into this content and this theme about your specific person. I post a lot about that. So if you're manifesting that, stay tuned to my channel. Also, a little update. I've had a few comments here and there when I style my hair like this. I want to do an updated hair video. If anyone is interested, this is more for the girlies, but I've recently, found out some updates about my hair, and I've been styling it like this kind of naturally. So if you want a whole video about that manifestation, let me know in the comments, because I would actually be interested in talking about that more. I am kind of still in a state of shock about it, but yeah, I'm also going to do like hair videos, hair tutorials, that kind of thing on my vlog channel. So it's linked below, it's on my channel. Take a look at that if you're interested. And yeah, on screen as well, before we jump into everything, I will pop my coaching info, how to get extra support, extra content from me. You can become a member. Just sign up for 1 month if you want. You don't have to renew. Super affordable, and you get loads of extra exclusive content. Members are going to get a Q&A very soon as well. So join now if you're interested in that, if you have manifestation questions that you want answered. And yeah, everything else is linked below. So now let's jump into the video. The neural pathways in your body are literally being formed and shaped by what you consistently think and feel. So the internal reactions, the automatic reactions, the kind of patterns that you've built up, for example, spiraling or feeling panicked every time you see something to do with your specific person or your manifestation, a certain topic, going to work, these kind of things. These are all things that can be broken down and worked through over time, and your neural pathways are literally formed and react based on what you consistently think and feel. So that's why repetition is a key element, because if you teach yourself to think more positively, react positively, catch yourself before you spiral and waver about your manifestation, about a certain topic, the neural pathways in your body are literally going to react to that. Likewise, your brain actually can't tell the difference between what is real, what's imagined. So whether you're imagining a scene, or just telling yourself affirmations, let's say you say 100 times, you are going to have a reaction. Your heartbeat is going to slow down to a normal pace. The racing will pause and slow down. Your anxiety, whatever it may be, everything will start to balance out. Even if it's just lessening a little bit, you won't be panicking, you won't be spiraling. You'll just feel more confident, happier. You will start to feel that shift regardless of how unrealistic it is. You can test this out after the video. Say to yourself 100 times over, use a counter app or just count on your hands 100 times over, something like, I feel so happy right now. I guarantee you will feel happier by the end of that repetition. And the real life example would be when you're watching a horror movie or a comedy. Even if you're in a bad mood, you're going to feel a little bit better if you let yourself get, taken into the story and really focus on what they're saying, watching the film, the show, whatever it may be. You start to react, even though, for example, a horror film, you're watching a film on screen. It's not your real life. It's, probably unrealistic. It's just acting in a story that's been written out, and they're just actors. But your heart races, you get a bit scared, you get, and you're in anticipation for what's going to happen next, but it's a film. That's your body and mind not knowing the difference between imagined and real. So I'm not saying that it manifests, obviously not. You don't need to panic about every single experience in life, but I'm saying your body responds to that. It can't tell what's real or what's fake. So when someone's telling you, a scary story, you start to, get really focused and your heart starts to race maybe, or you feel a range of emotions. It's not that you instantly, just like, this is just a story. It's not happening to me. It's not real right now. It's not real. Like, you don't react that way. So those are real life examples showing you how your mind and body actually react when you think and focus on something visually, verbally, even though it's not real. Repeating that new story is literally going to lead to, I guess, what can be described as cognitive familiarity, and it's going to override those old assumptions. So subconsciously, your mind is taking that in. It's becoming more familiar, normalized. It's essentially becoming your baseline, the center point, because you're repeating it so much that it's become normalized. So those emotions and positive reactions as well. The excitement, it might fade a little bit. That's why people lose motivation and then don't persist very often, because the desire to experience it after putting in a lot of effort and not seeing the physical result literally in front of them, people lose motivation and then they just stop. They stop putting in the effort as much. But that's where you have to understand that the emotions, the excitement, the motivation and all of those feelings, they might fade a little bit because it's becoming normalized. It's becoming, your baseline, your base point, because your cognitive familiarity is saying, okay, we're repeating this so much. This is actually normal. This is more realistic. This is accepted. Yeah, I know what I'm creating now. This is the clear vision of my end manifestation result. So it's normalized now. It's actually also replacing those old assumptions. It's overriding the negative, because the more repetition you saturate your mind with, conscious and subconscious, the more normalized it becomes, and your mind starts to say, okay, we're super connected to this. This is where the focus is. It saturates your mind to the point that it just starts to genuinely feel real. And every time you affirm, your brain will start to get better at actually seeing evidence of that. And that's because it stops looking for the opposite. So it's no longer seeking or focusing or trying to, point out and come to a negative conclusion just automatically, those thought patterns. Also tying back to neural pathways, the more you affirm, your brain just starts to seek evidence of that and say, yeah, here's a sign, here's a bird before land, here's, a reminder of the end result. And it stops going automatically to that negative focus. So the reticular activating system, the RAS, it seeks out what kind of matches with your dominant focus. So that's why, again, with the repetition, the more you do that, the more it normalizes it to your mind and body. And therefore, as we know, it's going to be mirrored back to you in your external reality. It has to be a mirror reflection. So it's going to seek out and focus and hone in on what reflects that. I've experienced this myself in crazy ways, like where, if you just think of really specific examples, for example, I'm going to give you guys examples, but if you have a specific person and, you would know what their hair looks like, and or like if it's a very unique hairstyle, like platinum blonde or really curly hair or something like that, you will start to see people with that hair, for example, or with their name, or a memory or visual that you really focus on with your specific person. You will see that played out on TV, on an advert, right in front of you in the street, all these kind of things. Your RAS is going to connect to that because your dominant focus has repeated that. So whether it's your affirmation, your SP, a certain visual, anything connected to your manifestation, it's going to reflect that because it's going to seek out where your dominant focus has been, what you constantly focus on. Same with your dreams. I don't think that actually is the RAS, but dreams are another example where that's done, where, you dream about your desire, your specific person, whatever it may be. Even if it's not the full end result, that is another example. You've focused on it and saturated your mind so much that you're literally experiencing it. That's internal, but you're experiencing it outside of your actual manifestation routine. Because that repetition is also going to help that reticular activating system in your mind focus and prioritize where your focus has been. The new, assumptions that you've been focusing on. So having your end result, saying it's here right now, it's mine, whatever your affirmation actually is, it's going to prioritize that above any old or negative assumptions or negative circumstances. It's going to prioritize that. So what you're going to see in front of you, whether it's social media, from your friends, things, you're seeing just externally in your reality day to day, it's going to prioritize that. And you're going to find that you notice things that you would have previously missed. You're going to be more intentional and focused, aware, and you should be, at least make that an intention, where if you see a social media post that reflects it, a TV show, immediately affirm to yourself, this is what I have. All versions of reality already exist in the quantum realm. So in the quantum field, there's limitless possibilities. There are, all realities already exist. Creation is finished. Everything has already been done. And repetition is literally aligning your mental state, your inner state, to the reality that you want. So by applying repetition, you're literally mentally, emotionally, aligning with the version of reality you want. And therefore, from the quantum realm, you're matching the version of reality that you actually want, because you've focused on it, you've applied repetition, you've saturated your mind, you've been super consistent. Therefore, it has to match that reality. It's in existence, it exists in the quantum field, and you're bringing it into your physical experience because you've focused on it so much. I hope that makes sense. I think it does. And remember that that shift occurs internally for you first. It's internal. You experience it before the physical external reality catches up, before the 3D reality, catches up from the lag that it's currently at. And when you apply that repetition with actual embodiment, this gets easier the more you do it. And I'm not saying you have to fully feel it or fully believe it, but when you embody it to the best of your ability with all your senses, your emotions, really try and tap into that, it speeds it up because you're connecting to that quantum frequency. The emotions themselves do not manifest. I'm not saying if you feel anxious, it's going to shift around all your assumptions. Just be aware of your thoughts. If you are having a bad day or you're triggered or you're reacting, you're just dealing maybe with anxiety or just, like a bad moment in general, just be aware, because yes, bad thoughts probably will come up, but I'm not saying that the emotions themselves are the be all end all. They just connect because it's the quantum frequency. You're literally physically completely embodying the version of reality you want. So ask yourself, how would I feel if this was already true? How would I feel if this was my reality right now? And just try and tap into that. Try and, do a little verbal rampage, whatever it is that lifts your mood. Play some fun music. This was actually something I got more into in a members challenge video as well. So I can talk more about it in the future, but anything to help you really embody that end state. This will happen if you're still repeating the old story, especially emotionally. If you're kind of almost like self-sabotaging, where, you're still focused on and trying to analyze and get into this victim mindset, woe is me mindset, which, it's fine to process and experience your emotions, have down days, down moments. But if you're continuing this, if you're repeating it, applying repetition to this and not recognizing it, stopping it in its tracks and saying, this is a bad habit, even though I feel sad, disappointed, heartbroken, whatever it may be, work through that, try and release those emotions and learn from it and move forward, but recognize and say, I'm not going to continue this habit. I'm not going to continue this cycle. I'm going to get out of my funk, because if you repeat the old story emotionally, you're holding yourself back, because then your thoughts are going to be held back. If you're stuck in this really, upset, mindset where you're saying, well, this happened, look at these circumstances, I can't stop replaying these words that were said, you're holding yourself back. And remember that when you focus on doubt or you let yourself stay in doubt, what's actually happening is you're repeating a version of reality that you don't want, the undesired version of reality, which, by the way, you maybe are or have been experiencing, but it exists in the quantum realm. Not getting what you want is another possibility. So if you don't want that, don't put your focus and repetition into that. So just remind yourself, that's the old version of reality. I choose this new version. That's the one I'm experiencing. Keep repeating that and focusing on your mindset as if it's here right now. Because once you put that effort in, once you focus, convince your own mind, reality has no choice but to conform to that. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys gained something from that. I think it was a useful video, tapping more into the logical side of how this works as well. Do thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell if you enjoyed and you want to stay up to date with my upcoming videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.